Namaskara and welcome to another episode of UVC Chronicles, an initiative of the UVC Graduates Association. I'm Adrian and I'll be our host for this episode. Our guest, Mr. Govind Lakshman from the 1971 batch of mechanical engineering, started his own manufacturing company in the United States as a one-man operation and has built it up to be one of the leading manufacturing companies for polyurethanes in the world. He has also started 5 other manufacturing companies in the United States and India. Govind sir, we're glad to have you on the show. And at Chronicles, we believe that nothing beats a first-hand introduction. So can you give our listeners a brief overview about your journey so far and your days spent here at UVC?
Yes, I'll be glad to. I joined UVC in 1966, and I am a Bangalorean by birth. My parents were both uneducated, and we come from a very poor family where my parents were both working in factories. My journey started right when I was in high school. I decided to be in my own business when I completed my education. So when I was in UVC, it just so happened that I went and saw a movie called The Graduate, starring Dustin Hoffman as a college graduate who did not know what to do. His father's business partner tells him that there is a good future in plastics. And that made a lot of sense to me, and that's how I decided to pursue the field of plastics. In 71, when I came to USA, I changed my field and went to study industrial management, and I did an undergraduate degree in industrial management and marketing. And this combination of engineering and industrial management was a big factor in successfully establishing many companies that I've done over the years. When I came to Chicago for a summer job, I wanted to go and get some practical experience in the field of plastics. So I went looking for a job, a part-time job, just for the summer in Chicago. And while I was walking door to door, looking for a job in an industrial area, a friend of mine drove by because I did not have a car to go to this one company where the industrial machinist job was open. So I asked this friend of mine if he could drive me over to this suburb where the job opening was. And he agreed. And then when I called that receptionist and told her that I'm interested in applying for the job, she said that to come over and apply. So we drove over to that company. And when she saw me being a foreigner, she said the job is not open anymore. So I pleaded with her and told her I would like to talk to a supervisor about this job. And he called one supervisor over and he took me and gave me a test to operate a lathe, which I was very good in. And he gave me some parts to make. And I did that, and then he was happy with that quality, and he gave me a job. And from there on, after I completed my education, I went back to that same company and got a couple of promotions and also the green card at that time. So 3 years later, in the year 1975, a few months before I was let go from that company, I was promoted to be the plant manager. And when the owner wanted to bring his son into my position, without any reason, I was fired. So that was a humiliating experience, and I decided never to work for any other company after that day. So in 1978, I started my own company manufacturing polyurethane products. Between 1975 and 78, I had worked for 2 other companies in the field of polyurethanes. So I gained some more experience in manufacturing, which was enough to give me confidence to start my own company. So in May of 1978, I started my own company as a single-man operation, and I went to 10 different trade shows during the first year to exhibit my products, to show to different engineers what our products and quality and the advantage of using our products as compared to some other products that were already available. And those engineers that came to those trade shows had some drawings or some problems that they wanted to talk about. And looking at those problems and as solutions to those problems, I came up with many new products. And eventually I introduced them as my own standard products that I could sell to other people with similar problems. So starting with that background, I have focused on manufacturing polyurethane products for one specific field, that is for bending sheet metal on press brakes using polyurethane as one of the tooling members. Conventionally, people were using steel punches and steel dies to bend sheet metal. So I came up with a way of using polyurethane as a universal bottom die where they didn't have to make a different die for every shape that they wanted to bend. So that was a very successful application. I have invented many, many products over the years that nobody else has in the world. So I have many patents for these products. And because of this niche, I've been very successful in this field. Right now, after that polyurethane products was established, I started making steel tooling for press brakes.
Sure, sir. Can you started companies in US, you started companies in India. What were the sort of challenges you faced while starting these companies, and can you compare the experience of starting a company in the US and starting a company in India?
In US were very minimal compared to the challenges and problems that I had in India. When I started my own company in US, I thought that they would prefer dealing with Americans. So I took on an American partner, and that was not necessarily so. It did not matter who you were in US. As long as you made a competitive product and a good product that performed better than your next door guy, they would buy from you as long as you're competitively priced and you have a good product at a better price. So I did not need to have an American partner. So when it just happened that the American partner did not want to join me even after 3 years of our establishing the company. So he ended up selling that company to me, and I was on my own from there on. So it did not matter who you are or where you come from in US, as long as you have a good product, you can always succeed. So when I started a similar product line in Bangalore, I set up a 100% EOU unit, and that had so many problems right from day one. To start the factory building in Bangalore, I wanted to be in Bangalore only and not outside of Bangalore. So when I went to KADB to apply for land, they told me that there are no places available in Bangalore. So they sent me to far-off places to look for land. And when I went to the single window agency, I told them categorically that I do not want to set up anywhere else other than Bangalore. And the chairman told me that there are no available in Bangalore. So I pulled out a drawing and told him that there is an area in India that is recently formulated where there are some acre plots available. Such half-acre plots and allot them to me, and he did that on the spot. So that was a good thing that happened in that single window agency meeting. So after that, even for getting water and electrical connections for a 100% EOU unit with a license to set up a manufacturing company, I had a lot of problems. And one simple thing, like getting a telephone landline, was a major problem. I had the license for setting up a 100% EOU unit. I built a new building in Pina industrial area and brought in all the machines from US and set them up. And when it is time to get a telephone line connection, I was told that there were no lines available in the exchange in Pina. Even though I had an approved line connection, they said they could not give me a connection. And they said the only way that I could get a connection was to get an initial letter from the central government communications minister. So I met New Delhi and met the minister Rajesh Pilot, and he initialed my letter. And when I came back to Bangalore, I got the connection like no problem. And the technician who came to set up the telephone connection said, "Sir, why did you have to go to New Delhi? If you had paid me 5,000 rupees, I could have given you the connection." So I told him, I could have gladly done that if I had known that earlier. So that's the kind of things that we don't have to deal with in US. But unfortunately, they do exist in India, and hopefully they're getting better than the time that I set up my company in Bangalore. The most exciting experience about me setting up companies in India was in the year 2003 during the first Pravasi Bharatiya Divas convention that was organized by Prime Minister Vajpayee on January 9th of 2003 to mark the contribution of the overseas Indian community to the development of India. And at that time, I met Mr. Narendra Modi, who was the very aggressive chief minister of Maharashtra, and he even wanted me to come and set up a factory in Gujarat. So, which I did not do, but that was a very gratifying experience during that Pravasi Bharatiya Divas program, where the Prime Minister had arranged a 21-gun salute in front of the Parliament building to appreciate the contributions of the NRIs to the severe foreign exchange problem that India had at that time. India had to mortgage their gold in order to maintain their balance of payment during those years. And he was very appreciative that the NRIs were contributing in a big way for helping India at that time. That was a very gratifying experience in spite of all the other problems that I've had. So, overall, it's been a good experience both in the US and in India. I'm ready to retire, and my son has taken over my business in the US, and unfortunately, he does not have any interest in continuing my companies in India. So he is managing the businesses in the US. So I'm pretty much set for retirement. Thank you.
Okay, sir. I guess there are a lot of experiences there that we take for granted. Even setting up something as simple as a phone line, getting the basic infrastructure ready to set up a company. You face so many challenges, but I'm glad you took the initiative to go forward despite the challenges and set up your companies here in India. So, sir, my next question would definitely be a little catered towards the mechanical engineering side, to our mechanical engineering listeners. So there are definitely a lot of students who take up mechanical engineering either by choice or because of their rank, and they're there. So what, in your opinion, being a person in the manufacturing sector, which is hardcore mechanical, could you probably share some advice for them or a few skills they ought to pick up to make a successful career in mechanical engineering?
As a mechanical engineer, a practical experience, practical classes that you have during your pre-final and final years, the hands-on experience that you gain there, and classes like machine drawing and any practical classes, like in my case, was so useful. I would say for anybody, any kind of practical experience, the hands-on experience that you learn in these labs would be very helpful. And also, if somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, the first thing that they have to do is identify an opportunity. there are opportunities all over in our, day-to-day lives. And when we go to a movie, we can pick up on a line like I did, or you can see opportunities, for example, in our Marvel labs that you guys are working on. There are so many things that come up on a daily basis, and if you identify an opportunity, and if you think that you can do a good job in developing that opportunity into an enterprise, that would be the way to go.
All right, sir. Thank you for your take on the necessary skills that mechanical engineers should definitely acquire as they go along. Sir, you have come, as you said, from quite a lower economic background. You studied in a Kannada medium school and you've adapted to English medium. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of students in UVC who can definitely relate to your story, because there are a lot of people who come from lower economic backgrounds, probably coming from rural areas. Do you have any words of advice for them?
They should do everything humanly possible to learn English and learn their communication skills and improve upon the communication skills. Communication is very, very important in anyone's life nowadays. Whether it's if you're writing an email or whether you're texting somebody, the language speaks volume about your English proficiency, and there are a lot of places that you can learn English and communication skills. So for the younger students in rural areas, they have to put the extra effort to learn English and improve their English and communication skills.
Thank you for your advice, sir. And that's true. I think having a good communication skill is, in fact, you're able to represent yourself and translate your passion, your interest better. So you've been a very active alumnus in the alumni community. I always see you attending the UVC Graduates Association meets, constantly asking, how you can possibly help out. So what would be your message to fellow alumni now, especially now since UVC is becoming an autonomous institution?
It's been my dream to see the 105-year-old UVC as an autonomous university. There are so many advantages in being an autonomous institution, and forward we want to see those changes and provide the avenues for the alumni to contribute not only monetarily but in dissipation of knowledge. We have thousands of alumni all over the world that are so good in their own chosen professions and their own chosen fields that would be willing to come and talk to students at UVC. But unfortunately, we don't even have an auditorium where they can come and talk to students.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, sir. And that was my last question. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and learn from your vast experience working in the manufacturing sector. We wish you all the best for all your future endeavors, and a huge thank you to all our listeners for tuning into this episode. Do feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, that is @VisionUVC, or drop us an email on campus@uvcga.org. We shall meet again for the next episode. Until then, stay tuned to UVC Chronicles.
It's been a pleasure talking to you and the other students that are listening to this podcast. I appreciate the opportunity, and I wish you well. Thank you.